Common symptoms of borderline personality disorder, BPD, problems with self-esteem and identity. One of the central features of borderline personality disorder, BPD, is chronic problems with self-esteem and an unstable sense of identity. Individuals with BPD often struggle with feeling uncertain about who they are, how they fit into the world, and what their purpose is. This instability in self-image can lead to emotional turmoil, impulsivity, and difficulty in relationships, as they may constantly shift their views of themselves based on external validation or their emotional states. In this episode of the Borderline Personality Disorder, BPD, podcast, we will explore how self-esteem and identity issues manifest in BPD, how they impact an individual's daily life, and why they are so deeply rooted in the disorder. Unstable sense of self. One of the most defining aspects of BPD is instability in self-identity. People with BPD often experience a sense of confusion about who they are, what they value, and how they relate to others. This can lead to a feeling of emptiness or a sense of being disconnected from their own identity, which fluctuates significantly over time. 1. Shifting self-image. People with BPD frequently experience dramatic shifts in how they perceive themselves. They may oscillate between feeling good or bad about themselves, confident or worthless, and acceptable or unworthy. These shifts are often emotional in nature and are deeply influenced by external circumstances, such as their relationships or the responses they receive from others. For example, after a supportive interaction, they may feel confident and valued, while after a disagreement, they may feel like a failure or unlovable. This unstable self-image can cause significant distress, as individuals with BPD may feel lost or unsure of their values and goals, making it difficult to make decisions or set long-term plans. The lack of a stable sense of self can also contribute to impulsive behaviors, as they may be seeking external validation or a way to fill the void in their self-image. 2. Chronic feelings of emptiness. Many individuals with BPD describe feeling a chronic sense of emptiness or a lack of meaning in their lives. This feeling is often linked to the instability in their self-identity. They may feel disconnected from themselves or as though something is missing, even though they may not know what that something is. The emptiness can lead to a constant search for external sources of fulfillment, whether through relationships, substance use, or self-destructive behaviors, to fill the void they feel inside. The fear of emptiness can also drive self-harm or impulsive behaviors, as individuals try to create emotional intensity or relief in an effort to counteract the numbness they feel. However, these actions rarely provide lasting fulfillment, reinforcing the cycle of instability and dissatisfaction. Self-esteem issues in BPD. Self-esteem problems are another hallmark symptom of BPD, with individuals often having low self-worth and being highly sensitive to perceived rejection or criticism. Their sense of self-worth is often dependent on the feedback they receive from others, and their emotional state can shift dramatically based on external validation. 1. Dependence on external validation. Individuals with BPD often place a great deal of importance on how they are perceived by others. Their self-esteem is often built on external sources, such as the opinions of friends, family, or romantic partners. This dependence on validation from others can lead to a fragile self-esteem, as it is easily disrupted by any real or perceived rejection or criticism. For example, a compliment from a partner may temporarily elevate their self-esteem, while a disagreement or lack of attention may cause them to feel worthless or undeserving of love. This emotional dependency on others for self-worth can create relationship instability, as individuals may become overly reliant on the approval of others to feel good about themselves. 2. Sensitivity to criticism. People with BPD are often highly sensitive to criticism and rejection, even when it is not intended to be hurtful. A single negative comment or perceived slight can feel like a devastating blow to their self-esteem. This intense sensitivity may result in feelings of shame, inadequacy, or failure, which can further exacerbate the emotional dysregulation seen in BPD. In response to perceived criticism or rejection, individuals with BPD may react with rage, withdrawal, or self-criticism. This can create a vicious cycle, as they may push others away, reinforcing feelings of abandonment and deepening their negative self-view. 3. Inconsistent self-image. A person with BPD may feel conflicted about their identity, which can lead to frequent changes in how they see themselves. For instance, they may suddenly adopt new interests, values, or beliefs, based on the influence of people around them, or as a way to temporarily feel more in control of their identity. However, these shifts can often feel artificial and superficial, leaving the person with BPD unsure of who they really are or what they genuinely believe. This identity confusion can result in impulsivity in decisions related to career, relationships, appearance, and other aspects of life. They may engage in risky behaviors, such as changing jobs or partners frequently, or adopting new hobbies or styles in an attempt to find themselves or to feel validated by others. Relationship between self-esteem, identity, and BPD symptoms. The difficulties with self-esteem and identity in BPD are closely linked to the instability in relationships and emotional regulation. A person with BPD may be unable to regulate their emotions without relying on others for validation, and any perceived threat to their identity, such as rejection or conflict in a relationship, can trigger an overwhelming emotional response. Fear of abandonment, as discussed earlier, is rooted in the unstable sense of self and fluctuating self-esteem. The fear that others will leave can trigger clinging behavior, emotional outbursts, or impulsive actions to avoid perceived rejection. The idealization-devaluation cycle in relationships often stems from the fluctuating self-image and the need for constant external validation. The person with BPD may become dependent on the relationship to feel whole or validated, leading to intense shifts in how they perceive the other person. Self-destructive behaviors, such as self-harm or substance abuse, can arise as a way to cope with feelings of worthlessness, emptiness, and the lack of a stable sense of identity. These behaviors provide temporary relief from emotional distress but ultimately worsen feelings of shame and self-criticism, deepening the cycle of instability. Treatment and coping strategies. Therapy plays a crucial role in addressing issues of self-esteem and identity in BPD. Dialectical behavior therapy, DBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and mentalization-based therapy, MBT, are among the most effective treatments for these symptoms. Key therapeutic goals include 1. Improving emotion regulation, helping individuals with BPD learn to manage and tolerate their intense emotions, rather than relying on external sources to validate or regulate their emotional states. 2. Building a stable self-image. Therapy can help individuals with BPD explore their identity and values in a supportive environment, allowing them to establish a more stable and integrated sense of self. This can involve helping them identify their personal strengths, interests, and goals independent of others' approval. 3. Self-acceptance and compassion. Developing a more positive self-view and increasing self-compassion is essential. Through therapy, individuals can learn to accept themselves, including their flaws and imperfections, without resorting to self-criticism or impulsive behaviors. 4. Interpersonal skills. Building healthy, stable relationships and learning how to interact with others in a way that is both fulfilling and emotionally safe. This includes improving communication, setting boundaries, and handling conflict in relationships. Conclusion. Problems with self-esteem and identity are core symptoms of borderline personality disorder, BPD, and contribute significantly to the emotional instability and relational difficulties seen in the disorder. The unstable self-image, chronic feelings of emptiness, and reliance on external validation make it difficult for individuals with BPD to maintain a consistent sense of self. Therapy plays a vital role in helping individuals address these issues by improving emotional regulation, fostering self-compassion, and building a more stable and authentic identity. In future episodes, we will explore more about how therapeutic interventions, such as DBT and CBT, can help individuals with BPD develop healthier self-esteem and more stable relationships. Stay tuned for more insights on managing the symptoms of borderline personality disorder.